And what we found is that state police, by the time I was done, we converted what had been 4 out of the top 10 crime cities to just down in the whole country. Now we're down to 1. We had 10,000 rape kits that were thrust on us from the closure of the Detroit Crime Lab. It takes a long time to process DNA, and we actually got through all 10,000 kits, so now justice can be done for those victims. On the veteran side of the fence, we were one of the worst performing veteran service organizations. Only 4% of the claims we submitted to the VA were what they call fully developed. By the time I was done, that was over 52%. We were ranked number 2 in the country. Wow. So stellar performance
veteran,
on that.
I appreciate that. As a veteran, you appreciate that?
I certainly do.
But I just want to highlight, that was, I did not receive any chairmanships. And that was kind of frustrating. It wasn't based on performance. So I sat down with the Senate Majority Leader afterwards, and I said, Arlen Meekoff, and I said, what's going on here? Why didn't I receive any chairmanships? And he goes, number one, you were too vocal in your opposition to Medicaid expansion, which is Section 2001 of Obamacare. I'm on the right side of the Republican position on it. Number two, he said you were too vocal in your opposition to Common Core standards. Number three, he said you underperformed in your district for your election. And mind you, I underperformed.
Got elected, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. No. But here, they had to put money in from the caucus to go off and get across the finish line, or at least that's their rationale on it. And I just said, put this in context. I was the one who led the effort to make Michigan the 24th right-to-work state. I'm coming from Wayne County, the home of the UAW. I was targeted by the National Democratic Party. When we were putting out fundraising appeals in the wake of the passage of right-to-work, those fundraising appeals weren't talking about the senior pension tax. They weren't talking about Medicaid expansion. They weren't talking about gas taxes for roads. They were talking about right-to-work. And we made all those fundraising appeals, the money that we got into the Republican coffers were because people were actually happy that Republicans actually stood up for things like freedom of assembly again. And so when he says I underperformed on the district, well, in context, I'm in the most expensive district that we have in the state Senate, sitting in Wayne County. It's the most expensive media market. So it was.
That explains what happened there then.
Yeah, very frustrating.
We're going to take a call right now.
Real quick question before that call.
No, you're the caller.
Oh, okay. I am the caller. All right, let me get on my phone here. With all the stuff that you're talking about facing with the difficulty because you oppose the Republican left agenda.
It's swamp politics.
Swamp politics. Yeah. You got a number of town halls coming up. Yep. Are we going to be able to see a good town hall with you and the Attorney General at the same place, answering questions and being responsible, talking to the citizens in an open forum together?
The Attorney General does not want to speak side by side with me. He's made that abundantly clear. We've had back in Traverse City.
That's because all the crowds are chanting your name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this started before the Macomb event. That's actually in Traverse City. I was up at an event. We paid a speaking fee to be able to go off and address people and introduce them. When I got up, or when they were going off and announcing all the speakers, I was the only one left off the dais because his campaign had worked with the leaders to make sure that I didn't get a chance to speak.
Did you get a refund?
No. So same thing happened out in Macomb County. Macomb County Republican. Remember Steve Bannon came out back when he was in good graces with everybody.
Now you don't know.
Yeah, all things work together for good for those who love the Lord. So, but this was a case where we had established that, once again, we paid for a speaking fee. This is going to have international, national, and local media on it, TV cameras all over the place. We had arranged so that we would be in the car ride with Steve Bannon on the way from the airport to the event. And we had arranged that when he got to the event, because our folks were involved in the planning of it, they would be seated at the table with Mr. Bannon, right in line with all the TV cameras and everything else between the podium and the cameras. And when we got to the event, we were told, you're not speaking. And not only that, but our tables were pushed out of camera range. And also, there was no opportunity to speak with them on the way in. When I was in the VIP room, which we paid for to get access to it, and you get pictures, I was immediately shoved away from Steve Bannon when we were approaching him for the photo. They didn't want us to have any communications at all. Meanwhile, the Attorney General had an hour with Steve Bannon on the way there. Now, it is all about denying communication and denying access, denying any opportunity for name recognition. And I'm getting a little cheesed off, I got to admit, on this. And so
that's why you're here speaking to Southeast Michigan.
Absolutely. Well, the whole world, actually. This is all on the internet, right?
That hits over 30,000 homes, So.
Yeah, so we're getting in a series of town halls, to your point. And we set it up, and we invited the Attorney General to participate in that. It was me and 2 other candidates, Lieutenant Governor and also a doctor out of Saginaw. We said, let's have an open discussion of this solutions. Let's see, you pick the best man based on what you're hearing. If that resonates, people will vote for you. If it doesn't resonate, vote for somebody else. But we want to have that open discussion. And, of course, the Attorney General decided he's not going to participate. Well, right now what he's doing is he's playing games with that Monday event, and they're trying to redefine the rules associated with that exercise. They've actually got a rule that was specifically added in deference to him because he's been making so many contributions to this, to the Kent County GOP, that they want to make sure that they don't do that we can't say anything. They're essentially putting a muzzle on what we can or can't talk about. So that we don't reflect negatively on one of their biggest donors. What's different?
Sounds like politics to me.
What's different between that approach and paying them off to go off and take a certain policy directive and paying an elected official to take a certain policy position on a particular bill or piece of legislation? There is no difference. And if this is any indicator of how he would plan on serving as governor, people pay attention. I mean, when we talk about drain the swamp, when we talk about this kind of bad behavior that people are sick and tired of from their elected officials, this is, I had no personal grudge against the Attorney General. I just didn't think he was a person to lead us in the right direction. The stuff that I'm seeing, whether it's Traverse City or Macomb or what's going on with these town halls, I'm getting less and less enamored with the gentleman.
It's a matter of character.
Yes.
It's being, obvious. So that's... And if anybody got lost on that, if it went too fast for you,
sorry.
Check out the dailydrift.com. The audio link will be there probably tonight. Spreaker, Talk America, something or other.us. Listen to the other episodes. They'll tell you I get it wrong all the time.
I have to say, I've known the senator since 2010. When I first met him, he was running for office. He didn't talk to me about
You're not much of a character reference, Rick. I mean, come on.
He talked about his faith in God. Okay, that's the first time I met him. I listened to his speeches. I've watched him in office. The senator has been on the same track that he's always been since 2010. He's always been a staunch conservative. He doesn't play games. He is not part of the swamp. He has been trying to drain the swamp before that became a thing. And to see the Attorney General play these games, or any other politician plays these games, just shows you what the problem really is in politics. A lot of people play it as games and not the future of this state or this nation. And this is why I appreciate this man right here.
You going to get a Trump endorsement?
Well, the Attorney General has got 30 decades of connections out in D.C., and that was enough to get him a tweet from President Trump.
I heard about the tweet, but it's not an endorsement.
No, but he's pitching it as if it's an endorsement, and the president hasn't come back and said, no, it's not really an endorsement. Since then, he has had a full-fledged endorsement from the VP, he's very respected.
That.
Yeah. So, but the thing about that is that
but you got Sean Hannity behind you.
Yeah, we like our endorsement, but the biggest thing is the people that elected President Trump in Michigan, those are the folks that are with us. It's the Trump grassroots team. It's the Cruz grassroots team. It's the leaders around that are really supporting us. And I, for the sake of the president, I hope he wakes up to understand he got some bad advice from whoever told him to go off and tweet that out for the Attorney General, because
it brings Alabama to mind again. He backed the wrong horse, and he has some advisors in Washington. He doesn't. Let's face it. President Trump doesn't know every person running for office in the country, and he's basing it on what people are giving him. And unfortunately, the only one who's giving him information about Michigan right now is people that are in the swamp.
Yeah, I don't have an office in D.C.
So that's what's going on here. The only thing he knows is he's given one name, and this is it. And, well, the swamp is the one giving him the information.
And the fact is, I actually helped him with the transition team, so with getting free market advocates in HHS. So we've been helping out the president, and I've gone to over 10 mega rallies where the cameras are not on.
There's the Music Center.
Yep.
Thanks for coming in.
Great to be with you guys.
Nice talking to you. Hope to see you again.
Maybe all right, not gonna lie, Ed.
All right. And come on back after the break. We've got more to talk about.
People are always on the go, driving to work, running errands. How do they keep informed? They listen to Wham Talk 1600 just like you. If you're a business owner, your message can reach these people wherever their travels take them. People tune to Wham Radio for the latest issues, discussed by hosts like Joe Pags, Fayron X, and Dana Lesh. And they'll stay tuned for your message as well. Call 734-971-1600 today and advertise your business with Wham Radio and whamradio.com. whamradio.com.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. A car bombing in Kabul has killed nearly 100.
The head of the United Nations mission in Afghanistan is calling this attack, quoting now, an atrocity. Not only because of the death toll and the great number of people who were injured, but because an ambulance, a vehicle that is so often associated with saving lives, was used to transport the bomb. The Taliban have taken responsibility. A government spokesman says 4 people have now been arrested.
Fox's David Lee Miller, more than 150 were wounded. President Trump prepping for Tuesday's State of the Union address, his first.
There are many legislative priorities the president could lay out, from infrastructure to immigration. He also may bring up things that have already passed, like tax reform. Until he speaks, it's a bit of a guessing game, but most political analysts expect the economy to be a major focus.
Fox's Ellison Barber, Massachusetts Representative Joe Kennedy will deliver the Democratic response. Fox News, we report, you decide.
It's time now for Wham Talk 1600's Community Calendar with Brandon Drake.
February events at Leslie Science and Nature Center include Superb Owl Sunday, Critters Up Close, Worms and Friends, Parents Night Out, Animal Engineers, Fireside Fun, a good old-fashioned campfire circle, Nature Story Time, and Nature Tykes preschool program. Leslie Science and Nature Center is located at 1831 Traver Road in Ann Arbor. To learn more, call 734-997-1553 or visit lesliesnc.org. Washtenaw County Sheriff Emergency Services, in conjunction with the National Weather Service Detroit Pontiac, is offering Skywarn spotter training free of charge to anyone 18 years of age or older interested in being trained in severe weather identification, protection, and reporting procedures. The course is 1.5 hours long, and identification codes are issued to all who complete the program. Takes place on Thursday, February 22nd from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at Saline Alternative High School Liberty School Auditorium, 7265 Saline Ann Arbor Road, located 1 mile north of US 12 in Saline, and on Saturday, April 7th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at Washington Street Education Center Auditorium, 500 Washington Street, west off of Freer Road, north of Old US 12 in Chelsea. Check-in begins 30 minutes before posted starting times. Class sizes are limited, so you must pre-register either electronically on the web at emergency.ewashtenaw.org or by calling 734-973-4900. Provide your name, phone number, class date, and verify that you are at least 18 years of age.
You've been listening to the Wham Community Calendar. To have your event publicized, email community@whamradio.com. Wham Talk 1600. In touch with your community.
Your bridge to recovery and wellness is WellBridge. WellBridge is redefining the rehabilitation and nursing care experience with the most amazing care facilities you've ever seen. All WellBridge locations offer a resort-like atmosphere, and their driving goal is to provide each guest with an epic experience. Here's former patient Chris Tangeman from Howell.
I had back surgery. I had to go there for like 3 or 4 weeks, and let me tell you, they were just superb. I'm in this industry. I'm an LPN, and I mean, they're just excellent. The aides, the nurses, everybody. I thought especially that their therapy department was just phenomenal, and I would absolutely recommend WellBridge.
For rehabilitation and nursing care, ask for something epic. Ask for WellBridge. In Brighton, Fenton, Novi, and Pinckney. Now looking for talented nurses and certified nurse assistants to join their growing team, WellBridge invites everyone to learn more about them at thewellbridgegroup.com. WellBridge, your bridge to recovery and wellness starts here.
Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.